All right, so welcome to the rabbit hole. My name is Yasif,
My name's Hitansh.
and this is a podcast that we just decided to start just to talk about various topics that kind of interest us.
And it seems that our interests are mainly in STEM. So we will be talking about topics related to science, technology, new theories, pretty much just nerdy stuff. And then occasionally some
Yeah,
like pop culture stuff.
occasionally, yeah, basically any new discoveries that happen, new theories, current theories, any past topics. If anyone's watching this, they can suggest any of these things to us, but we will just be talking about whatever interests us, really. So,
Yeah.
I guess a bit about us is we we are university students, right, Hitesh?
So yeah, we're both going into our senior year this coming term. And yeah, we go to McMaster University. We're both Bachelor of Health Science students. So I guess that's why our interests are in this the field of STEM. But
Exactly.
yeah, so in terms of like credibility, we have none. We're actually
Zero.
pretty dumb.
Like negative credibility.
But we will try our best to explain things when we talk about them to the best of our abilities. We will try to cite stuff and source our references wherever we can. But yeah, don't listen to us if you're trying to learn stuff.
Yeah, it's just take it with a grain of salt, right? Just know at the end of the day we are big dumb. So
Yeah, big dumb.
big dumb. Anyway, Hitesh, so what's the topic we're diving into today?
Ooh, this topic is for the first topic. We wanted to keep it super relevant, like everyone can sort of relate to it, so everyone can relate to the virus. So that's what we'll be talking about today.
Gotta keep it ambiguous for that YouTube algorithm.
Can't be saying the word. You know what I'm saying?
No, just the virus. Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
so we'll be
mm-hmm.
looking into a bit of a kind of a case study, right? Just looking into how people have talked about how the virus is impacting us currently, but we kind of wanted to take a different spin on it and see how it will impact us in the future, how different technologies, services, different social conducts have changed.
Yeah, and we wanted to start by talking about like the obvious ones, and we'll get into those. But we wanted to talk more so about some aspects that maybe you haven't considered that may change, and some that I hadn't even considered before looking into it. But yeah,
What
so without
with your vast breadth of information on
oh yeah, yeah.
viruses?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Of
I am an epidemiologist, dude.
of
I am also a
course.
virologist. I so many degrees under my belt, man. I know everything. Okay, without further
And
ado, do you want to start?
let's just jump into it, man. So,
Why do you say it like that?
education.
Okay, keep going.
So education, yes, this has been a subject that has changed depending on the region you're in. Some people have completely shut down the education system. Some people have moved it online. Probably in the future will mainly be moving online, correct?
Yeah, McMaster recently, or well, our university. I think a lot of the other universities in Canada. Oh yeah, McMaster's in Canada for all of those who don't know. Yeah, so a lot of Canadian universities have shifted at least their first semester of next year into the virtual scene. So yeah, we're going to be doing more online classes, more Zoom classes. But yeah, I think what this like the larger umbrella topic here is that of like the virtual future and how a lot of the things that we do currently will be transitioned or have already been transitioned into the virtual world, right? And education, as you mentioned, is one of the biggest ones. Personally,
Definitely.
yeah.
Like
How many
I was
classes did we
in
do last year online?
online. What do you mean before the thing or
No, after the thing. All of
after
them,
the
right?
thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was all of them.
yeah. Wow,
I,
dude, taking that we did like pretty much an entire semester of, and like a lot of our classes are problem based learning for those who don't know. So it sort of there's like an in person component to it. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that like all of it was transitioned. I would say fairly smoothly online?
It was like it was pretty seamless. It's like in the beginning it was a bit awkward, just like, especially with presentations, like I mean people would ask questions and stuff like that, but it was a fairly well executed transition, I would say.
Yeah, it was just like super awkward in the beginning because like no one would talk online and no one would have their like cameras on either, and it would be muted. So like I don't even think like half my class was paying attention half the time.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember at one point I was definitely not watching a YouTube video while
During the
it
presentations.
was,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
pretty sure someone was playing Warzone too.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so anyway, I think the education aspect to it, and then I guess there's the teaching or like learning aspect to it, and then there's like the work, the at-home work,
Hmm.
where a lot of the presentations, for example, are programs like heavily based on presentations and projects, and a lot of them became online. And honestly, I don't personally, I didn't see it as an issue, but I know a lot of different people didn't like that at all. They didn't like the
Yeah,
fact that
it's
yeah.
sorry, like I guess like for us, it was different since we've been commuting students for our entire time basically at McMaster. So we kind of got used to not being able to show up in person for every meeting, so having to call in or having online meetings and stuff like that, right?
Oh, true, yeah. And then also there's the aspect of like working from home. Honestly, I have always worked from home, so to me, I didn't really care. But yeah, a lot of people can work at home. I didn't realize that. Like a lot of people can't work from home because they're just too
Yeah,
used to like either working at university or like whatever.
yeah. Some people, it's very work is kind of dependent on the environment that they're in. Like if you train to work in a certain kind of environment, as soon as you move out of that environment, you don't like it. Like for me, I've been trained to work in my room. As soon as I go to like a library and work, I don't work as well, right? And it's the opposite for those people that lived on res.
You don't work at all. Let's be honest.
Shh, shh, they don't need to know that.
But yeah, and I think it just okay. So education is definitely one of the aspects, but like another aspect where we see like a lot of this virtualization, at least like something I see like very firsthand, with the fact like my sister's in medicine, and I think you see it too since your sister and your mother and father, both your parents are also in
No, I
medicine.
was just well, just mother.
Um, or at least your father was right
Yeah, it
previously.
was
Yeah.
previous,
Um,
different country.
but yeah, so medicine is another aspect that I've noticed that's really been virtualized. And so something I recently learned was that in America, Medicaid, their like insurance program, has allowed telehealth to be on their like to be billed on their Medicaid program, which is weird because you would have
Hmm.
expected that to exist like even before this happened, you know?
Yeah,
And
from what I read, I think the Canada was already planning on implementing it, so there was a bit more of a billing process set. I think for America, they weren't super planning on it yet, so it took them a while to kind of get it set up.
yeah, and then you see all these like random barriers that existed but no longer do, and it just makes you think like they were so useless to begin with. Why were they there? Like for example, you know like how doctors can only use like pagers or like certain modes of communication within the hospital, or even when they're doing
Hmm.
telehealth. Yeah, they recently changed that to like HIPAA in America was like, oh, you can use like regular stuff like FaceTime and like phone calls and stuff to do your um, like health advising or whatever, which is like,
Like,
why were they not allowed to do that in the first place? You know what I'm saying?
granted, like it kind of makes sense with the whole thing about like having a security aspect to it, but then again, it's just like there has to be a certain threshold. Like the technology that they use can only be so behind from like what everyone else is using, right?
Pagers, dude, pagers.
Yeah,
I haven't even seen a pager. Pagers weren't even around when, like, I have never seen a pager in my life.
except for in the hospital.
Oh yeah, except for in the hospital.
Yeah. But like
Um,
I mean, even with that being said, now like there are developed ways of creating encryptions and things like that to make these services on phones and stuff like that more secure, right?
mhm. And I guess like even stemming further from this, like away from medicine and like even other fields, right? Um, we look
Well, actually,
at
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm gonna stop. No, no, no. I'm gonna backtrack a bit. Still
ooh,
staying on
ooh,
medicine. You
okay,
don't leave until I tell you you can leave. All right?
okay, yes,
I'm
sir,
running. I am the captain now. Okay?
okay, okay.
But I think like there's a bit more to talk about with the benefits of the telehealth, right? So like there would be the thing like especially in walking clinics, those would be filled with patients most of the time because my mom used to work at them fairly frequently. So, but now with telehealth, like even after the virus is over, like you can kind of use it as a way to, I guess, diagnose patients who aren't as severe, so they don't have to come in person, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you won't have that annoying sick dude just like coughing his ass off in the
Exactly.
waiting room.
Like it serves both ways. It helps the doctors
Dude,
like
you know
be able
what I
to
never
treat the more
understood
what,
about the waiting room? Like,
but
it's like a cesspool of humans who are sick, and you're just putting them together, like even closer and close quarters. So, like, obvi- like, do they disinfect the waiting rooms like every hour or something? Because they better. Because like, just think about it. There's just sick people on that like in that vicinity all day. Isn't it like the chance of you getting sick even greater if you go to like
healthcare.
right?
They don't disinfect it.
They like I'm just saying, isn't that like
I know.
why was
It's
telehealth not a thing before?
it
Like
really
I
like
knew it
it.
was, I know it's a thing, but like people just didn't use it.
I know. It's just a thing about like uh, introducing new technology to doctors is a bit like it's not the
It's very
easiest
hard.
thing because a lot of them aren't very tech savvy for some reason.
Hmm.
But like yes, now with it being implemented like more, I guess like you not now but in the future like doctors will have more time to spend with more severe cases and like also on the patient and the patients even if it's like a less severe thing they don't have to come all the way to the doctor to get a checkup, right?
Hmm.
And we were even talking about this earlier, just the thing with accessibility, right?
Hmm.
Like how telehealth can now, as long as you have an internet connection, you can have that healthcare service provided even if you live in a remote area.
Hmm. Yeah, Canada's got a lot of those.
Where exactly, Hitansh?
Northern Ontario.
Hey.
Okay, for all of those who don't know, it's an inside joke because we spent pretty much a semester um, just working on like a project on like how to improve healthcare accessibility in Northern Ontario. So it's kind of an inside joke. It's a stupid inside joke, but that's why we were talking
Comedy,
about it.
peak comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, now you may move on. That is my rant for medicine done. You have my permission.
I was just gonna move on to like the way I see it, like the bigger picture here is that there were the service industry and like the consumer industry, and the consumer industry, like at least in terms of technology, was much ahead in my opinion in comparison to the service industry. And this entire situation has given the service industry, or like not given industry, forced the service industry to sort of catch up with
It
where
like it sped
technology
them
has
up a
been.
bit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like they would have
Um,
eventually gotten here, but it just forced them to kind of expedite that process.
Yeah, for example, like transportation or like car sales. I know that's something you looked into.
So basically, with things like car sales and real estate, these have all moved online. So with car sales, you actually bought your car like this, right? So
Yeah, yeah, I did.
yeah, so you would first, instead of going to the dealership and dealing with the dealers there and spending hours there, you can just view your car online, get the specifications you need, and then you can request a test drive, and they would deliver the car to you with it sanitized, of course, and then you can test it out at your home, and then you can just sign the paperwork right there. So this has been people have been fairly receptive of this just because of the fact that one, it's easy, they don't have to spend their entire day at the dealership. Two, just the price transparency, right? Because most of the time in dealerships you would kind of have to haggle the price a bit just to get the right deal. Online, the price that you see most of the time is the price that you would be paying.
Yeah, I
And then
totally forgot we got a new car because the last one. Okay, For those who don't know, the reason I got a new car was because
How
the
would they
last one we
know?
got in.
How would they know?
Okay, that's true, but I'm just
Who would
assuming
know
our two
this?
friends are going to be watching this, so I'm assuming the people watching this know.
Okay.
But yeah, my car got into a pretty gnarly accident a few months back, and that's why I need to get the car. I don't know why I'm sharing this. I don't think anyone really gives a shit. So
No one
moving on.
cares, Atash. No one cares about
Yeah,
you.
that's true. I'm not even gonna deny true.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, so that's been kind of improved, and they're predicting that even after the virus is over, that this will stay because they've already spent time and effort into developing this, and this is just the ultimate future that kind of people have enjoyed as it's increased the ease of access. And then another thing that's changed, which kind of has impacted us because we recently sold a house, we're selling a house and moving, is
No one
real estate.
cares. Yeah, I said no one cares. Bastard.
That's very hurtful, Hitanch. I don't know why you're taking this tone with me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was
You
rude.
should
That was
be.
rude.
So anyway, yeah. So with real estate, basically how it happens is they have a virtual tour of the house set up. So you would be able to view that virtual tour and only go and visit the house in person if you are actually interested in making an offer. So basically that just cuts out all the people that just wanted to see the house but weren't actually interested in it, which kind of speeds up the process a bit and saves a lot of time for people, right?
That's cool. Never even considered that. Oh, and then the other thing, which everyone is sad about, is gyms. Like the
Sad
fact
boy
that gym,
hours.
I think gym is like that service is the only service that hasn't kept up with the technology. But to be fair, I think it's impossible to sort of force. Like I don't know how you would transition like the gym service online. That doesn't even work.
You
I guess personal trainers can like
you lift the
give
virtual weights.
yeah they can give virtual moral support while you lift weights. But that
Good
being
job,
said, I
buddy.
think that being said, I think my transition to like working out from home has been rocky at the beginning, but like kind of stable now. I've just like sort of
No, like
adapted to the new norm.
that's the thing I've been telling a lot of people, like, granted, they are the people that are like, they really love lifting, like, and so they would still probably go to a gym, but for the majority of people, like, the virus has been around, lockdown has been around for long enough where they've either decided that they don't really want to work out anymore, or that they do want to work out and has somehow figured out a way to do it at home, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like
So
either you give up on the gains or
or
you
you just
don't.
define it. And yes, and like and which means that ultimately, like after lockdown is over, that those people will have already invested money and effort into developing their routine at home. So most likely they won't want to go back to a gym.
And I think what a lot of people have quickly realized is the ease and like sure like going to the gym for sure is like for some people motivating and it's also obviously the equipment's better. But that being said, for a lot of like regular lifters, like me and you,
Olympic lifters?
oh yeah, wait, I just realized they can't see us, so they don't really know. Yeah, we're not
Dude, just
that big
imagine two
at all.
two very small boys.
Yeah, but we do occasionally lift. But yeah, so for a lot of people, lifting like the regular lifters, they've realized that like going to the gym was actually like a hassle, you know, like because they're clearly their motivation already exists. So like, why go all the way to the gym when you can just do it the same thing from home? Well, like not the same thing, but like more or less the same thing, you know?
Exactly. And I was thinking about it. It's weird because like you think about the gym and you're like, okay, this is things that's been around for a long time, but like the real gym craze, like of course gyms have been around for a while, but the real the real gym craze has kind of it began not too long ago, right? Like I'd say maybe like 10 or 15 years ago, only
Yeah,
like
for
a
sure.
handful of people had a gym membership. But then there was this one phase where like fitness became really popular and like every other person almost had a gym membership.
Yeah, I remember even like when we started university, like the gym wasn't as packed as it was in the last 4 years. I think every preceding year has been more and more packed.
Hmm.
And Yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird to see like there was that huge spike, and now like I think after this, it's gonna transition from doing it at the gym to still being active and fit just at home. So there's gonna be a decline in the popularity of gyms, I feel like.
Hmm. Yeah. Um.
Anyway, that was our little gym spiel. So
Ooh, yeah. Look forward to those. By the way, I think in the future we will also be making. I think like Yasa and I are both very passionate about working out and like being active and stuff. So I do see us doing like podcasts about like workouts or like workout routines or like how to stay fit during this time or something to do with workouts. I think we
yes,
would definitely
definitely.
make a topic or a video about that.
Most likely, yes. Um,
Mhm.
Look forward to that, or don't, because we're small
Yeah,
boys.
working
But
out's for losers. Yeah.
so, what do you want? We got two topics left in this section, Hitansh. We got transportation, and we got 5G,
Okay, I
which
don't
we
think
want to
anyone
talk
wants to
about.
talk about transportation. That's dude. The cars was boring enough. Let's go to 5G. That's hot. That's
That's hot. 5G is that
that
hot topic?
Will Smith meme right
Ooh, ah, that's hot.
there. But
So, so basically, 5G is the evolution of the 4G network, which is basically just a faster, lower latency mobile network just meant for use with all devices. And so I guess the real driving factor of 5G, what people are kind of praising, is just the fact that since it's so low latency, since it has such a wider range, it can be used on so many more devices, and just really pushing towards a future where everything is kind of connected to a network, right? So this would improve things like automation in farms and factories, uh, in surveillance maybe, and they were even saying a thing how cars with self-driving capabilities or sensors could communicate with each other, just because if they sense something with their sensors like a danger, like say a pothole or an accident, they could then inform other cars in the vicinity about the danger so that they can prepare for them.
the
So
the
like
only way.
so
Sorry.
if the car picks up that you're in the vicinity, then they can inform the other cars to come and hit you, right?
Yes.
You specifically.
Yes.
Yes.
Do it, please. End me. But no, the reason I was laughing was because I was thinking about the only reason I know about 5G, honestly, is because of the memes associated with it. So I was just looking at memes.
5G caused the virus, Karen.
But yeah, can you demystify the risks associated with 5G, or if they're real, then tell me about them too,
So
because I
so
have no
like
idea what the hell 5G is.
so people think that since we're looking into a new frequency of
People or
the
Karens?
mobile network, that there would be some risks associated with our health, things like that. So I am not scientist, but I'm fairly certain that those risks are fairly minimal.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
for one thing, we're on the radio wave length, right? We're on the radio end of the frequency. DNA mutations only occur really
Shut
in
up,
the
nerd.
UV or the ultraviolet section.
Nerd.
I'm just saying. I'm
Also,
just
I
saying.
don't think people would have suggested it if it was dangerous, like to the point where it's like causing DNA mutations.
Yeah,
Like, I
like
don't think anyone's dumb
no
enough to
one.
suggest that.
Didn't.
Yeah.
It did not cause the virus.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You tell that to the Karens of the world.
You hear that, Karen? You're okay. Use
You're
5G.
okay, buddy.
You're okay, bud.
Um. But yeah, that's our 5G one. Oh, but then okay. So something I was really excited to talk about was like the unexpected changes that come with this. Like the ones we've talked about so far are like things that have currently happened or will happen or will be are kind of like you can see the like it's pretty straightforward. But some unexpected ones that I want to talk about was um, think about the fact that now everyone is actually paying attention to politics. And like this is like I can look at it from like an anecdotal perspective because in Canada at least, our Prime Minister Trudeau he pretty much comes out, I think, every day at like around 11 o'clock and like makes like a Canada-wide statement. And honestly, I think everyone I know listens to those, or at least has like a TLDR version of what he said today, or what he said this week. And I think that's more political involvement than I have ever seen. And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
you
it
just
will
look at
transition
voter
into the
turnouts,
future.
and they're usually like what 60%.
Yeah, sometimes lower than that. But yeah, I don't really know the exact numbers, but yeah, they're pretty low. So I'm hoping it would transition into at least the next election for America. I guess Canada's just passed, so um, but yeah, and then like another aspect of it, like even anecdotally, so like every time you go on YouTube now, there's this like entire like virus related news section, and I've never had that before. So like the fact that like, or just like a global political news section as well, which is also new. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, like I
that's
feel like it's definitely
yeah,
like improved people's like intake of the news. Once the whole virus thing dies down a bit, I don't think, definitely not as many people would still be as invested, but I do think that more people would be invested than before.
yeah, yeah.
So hopefully
Um,
that'll lead to better election turnouts and just participation in political events and
yeah, and just
decisions.
like being aware. Honestly, I don't even think. I think the bottom line is just being aware of
Aware
where
and
your
informed.
country's. Yeah, yeah. I think that's super important.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, moving on. Yeah, another thing that I guess this one's kind of a little bit more intuitive. Um, but the fact that okay, when we talk about like income gap or like income equality, we think of like the top 1% versus the bottom 99%. And that's what we usually talk about. Oh, like look, the top 1% is so much richer, which they are, dude. Jeff Bezos,
Oh
the
man,
amount of money this man has, insane.
it's insane.
Um,
Especially with this thing, he's just raking in all the money from everyone ordering on Amazon.
oh yeah, that's true. And so, but with this, with like the virus, I think a gap that does increase significantly, a lot of sociologists have talked about this, is the fact that the gap between the top fifth or top quarter and then the bottom quarter. So we're talking about like the working class and like uh, versus like the upper middle class, and that gap will significantly increase, um, simply because of like the lack of jobs or the fact that the upper middle class tend to have jobs that can still be productive or are useful in like times like these. So that gap will increase, which
Hmm.
obviously has like different socioeconomic implications. It was just something interesting that I thought would be like cool to think about. That like the inequality would actually be growing. But yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't care about you and your opinions, right?
Oh,
So,
true. I don't think anyone does though. To be fair. Um.
so what is our next unexpected change, Hitanch?
Ooh. Like the shift to new media. Okay, I don't like a lot of we've seen a lot of this with like online concerts and like a lot of the concerts that got canceled became like online. And then we've also seen this with like greater investment in like streaming services by a lot of famous like actors or whatever, and they're making an appearance on like for example Twitch, like Zed if you know him, um, or ASAP Rocky had a concert on like Fortnite or something recently.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I'm
know they
not.
had Fortnite concerts before, like with Marshmello, but it isn't. I think half Thor Bjornsson, Thor, like world's world
Yeah,
strongest
yeah, yeah,
man, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
He's now streaming on Twitch.
Oh yeah, so you know Ryan Higa. Let me
Yeah.
let me give an example that people actually understand. um, no one knows World's Strongest Man, but Ryan Higa is streaming on Twitch now.
Hmm.
YouTube has like their streaming service has like blown up. So I know Facebook was like the new one on the block until a few months ago, but now YouTube is the new one on the block with like
Yeah, like
PewDiePie doing his streams and stuff, and they're going super popular.
yeah, they're really getting in those, really making in those contracts with different
Yeah, I know a lot of people
creators, right?
switched to YouTube completely. Like Valkyrae,
Yeah, Valkyrie.
she yeah she used to be a Twitch streamer. Now she's a YouTube streamer.
Hmm.
Um, I know this guy's Toast jumped on the Facebook train a few months ago.
No one probably knows what we're talking about, but yes.
Dude, come on. Okay, well, if they don't know what we're talking about,
Don't
they're not.
watch. Don't watch.
I don't want you as a fan if you
It's
don't know
okay. We
what I'm
don't have
talking
anyone anyway. But yeah,
about. Yeah, that's
so
true.
just
Maybe
overall,
that's
like
why.
there was already going to be, it's already have been happening, like a shift from old media into new media, just like more online content, right? Just streaming services, YouTube and stuff like that, just moving away from the traditional cable networks and things like that. But just again, with this virus situation, it really just expedited the process, right?
Yeah. And another thing that I think has been like foreshadowed, but like not a lot of people have accepted it as like a reality is the fact that we're not going to have that many movies next year,
No,
or
we
probably
really aren't.
yeah, or the following year, or shows. Honestly, because like everything has been closed, and
Yeah.
like for all the weebs out there, you guys probably know more than anyone. Like weekly chapters are for manga are down. Lots of seasons that were going to be announced in 2020 have been pushed to 2021, 2022 even.
Weeb. Weeb.
I am just being inclusive. Okay. But yeah, a lot of Netflix shows have also been postponed,
Yeah, like
which is crazy to think about. So we will definitely have to be more on like the Twitch side and the streaming services side.
which yeah, or just like the small creator side.
Hey, us, we're small creative. Watch
Hey,
us.
exactly.
We
Watch
are your
us
peak entertainment.
peak. Nothing else, just this. This is all you need.
Yeah, just two dudes talking about honestly nothing interesting. But hey, we appreciate you if you're a fan and you're new and you're listening.
So yeah, so
Anyway,
a big shift in all of these different services, entertainment, technology, and things like that. So what are some overall takeaways from this, Hitansh, as we start to
oh
wrap up a
wow,
bit?
what a smooth, seemingly subtle transition you just did there. Wow, I
I'm
didn't realize you were telling
professional.
me to change the topic.
Yeah, telling you to
Um,
shut up subtly. Did you check my
okay.
subliminal messages there?
Oh, dude, so subliminal, so subtle.
Of course.
Um, yeah, this is something I read on like I think it was a BBC article, which really was like
Wait, 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 wait,
super.
wait, 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 wait,
Yeah,
wait. You read
yeah,
this? You
I
were
read this.
presenting, you were presenting this idea to me like you had
Hey,
come up
hey,
with
okay,
it.
I read
I
the
thought you were
idea.
smart.
I changed it to make my own. It's like when
Here,
you're copying when you're copying homework from a friend, you're like
here I
just change it
was.
up a little so she doesn't know.
Here I was thinking that you actually like did something good with your life, like you're improving, like come
Oh
up with
no, no, no.
original ideas. Like even the logos you suggested to me, they were just a blatant copy of another podcast.
I didn't know other podcasts had our name. I literally thought we were the only ones with this name. I remember
Like you
thinking
piece
of
of
this name with you like 2 years ago, and I
we
swear to
dude, we come
God,
up with it first.
yeah,
Why
that's
anyway, you
all.
piece of filth, give me your stolen idea.
Okay, okay, it's kind of deep, okay, but this entire situation, like this entire virus situation, has sort of like changed our definition of change. Let that sink
Bruh.
in. Isn't that deep, bro? No,
I'm
okay,
14 and that's deep, man.
holy shit, bro. No, but okay, what I mean is that like typically when we think of change in society, or when we think of change, it's the scale of change is relative to the sort of operations that we're aware of. And what I mean by that is like it's based on like institutions, our democratic or political beliefs, our values. And when we think of change, we think of a change in one of those aspects. So like if we're changing a law, we're changing an aspect of our political beliefs or like our political agenda. But this changes pretty much all aspects of our life. So it's what we truly can call like a paradigm shift. We're essentially changing our entire frame of reference. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like basically, while in normal scenarios you would see only one or two aspects change gradually, in this scenario, it's like you just took all the sliders on all aspects and you just shoved all of them forward. Like everything is just changing dramatically all at once.
Exactly. So yeah, our definition of change, and it's basically the fundamentals of how we interact with each other, with society, or even ourselves changes because of the existence of this virus, or like the way it's influenced us. And
Like
I
we
think
will
that's
come out of this entire situation just like a completely different society than what we were going into it, right?
yeah, we'll be like a white girl who goes backpacking across Europe and comes back and is a whole new person.
Like so many Instagram posts about it, just like
Yeah, yeah,
I'll put a
we'll
leaf in
be
the description.
yeah. We're pretty much Jasmine, and this is Aladdin saying it's a whole new world.
And with that beautiful sentiment, I believe that is all the time we have for today. So thank you for listening.
Hmm.
You can catch us if you're watching this on YouTube, probably on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play Podcasts. And if you're watching us, or if you're listening to us on those services, you can catch us on our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. Hit
Drop a
that
comment.
algorithm. Exactly. Let us know if there's anything you would like us to discuss in the
Honestly,
future.
I'll
If you're
take the hate
actually
comments too. I'll take the
just,
hate comments. Just
I
comment,
will
please.
personally provide you with hate comments. They will all be from me.
You do that already.
Well,
Anyways,
now
oh,
they'll be
also
documented.
follow us on the social medias.
Yes, when those are made,
They will be made soon.
they will be made. You should make them. I will link them in the description if they are made. But yes, with that being said, we will see you next week. I don't believe we've decided on a topic yet, but it will probably be around the realms of STEM.
Mm-hmm. Join us next time when we go down the rabbit hole.
See you then.